For 20 years, you've trusted us to reinvent the standard in sports nutrition products. We don't plan on stopping, just like you.
What's going on, Generation Iron? Welcome to another episode of Sex, Love, and Bodybuilding. I'm Margarita Ventura.
And I'm your host, Akim Williams, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit about that post-competition funk that a lot of competitors get into. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, but today we're going to shed some light on it. That first came to my attention after I did my first show. You know, nobody really told me like what was going to happen after you spend 16 weeks dieting, get onto the perfect body or, you know, stage ready and stuff like that, do your show. Nobody really told me what was going to happen. And, you know, at the time I competed at like my first show, maybe 196 pounds. And before I know it, within 48 hours, or even less than that, I was already back up to like 220 something pounds, you know. And I didn't know that, you know, my weight was going to fluctuate like that. It freaked me out.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people, you know, especially if you're just doing a show for the first time or doing a competition for the first time, nobody really tells you about the weight fluctuation.
Nobody does.
It could be shocking, you know, because you spend 16 weeks dieting your hardest, you know, trying to get that perfect physique, and within a matter of 48 hours, it could be gone. You know, so how do you deal with that? So it tends to leave people in the depression. You know, I know a lot of women, it affects them a lot harder than men, you know, because women are always like to, you know, have that perfect body and stuff like that. You know, to us guys, you know, we see it as basically gains. Yeah. Because, you know, we get bigger and stuff like that, especially if you're bodybuilder and stuff like that. But, you know, it's tough, man. It's tough to deal with, you know, especially, like I said, you spend all this time dieting, and within a matter of 48 hours, what the amount of time, 16 weeks that you put in, it could be gone in 48 hours.
And I think for women, I know after I competed the first and second time, I still didn't know. Nobody told me about what I was going to go through. You know, I did pretty good when I got on stage, and especially surprisingly, when I won my pro card, I, after the show, hit a really big depression. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life, but there's always stuff going on in your life. You know, you get to the age where there's always something going on. But I just remember, like, hormonally, like mentally, emotionally, like I hit a rock bottom. I gained weight. No one told me that, like, that is a potential thing to happen after your show. I remember the first few weeks after the show, I was eating whatever I wanted. I still was pretty lean. I had that, and then it just went downhill from there. When I would go lift, things were just not the way that they were before. And it wasn't until after that, a year later, that my coach, you know, schooled me on it. He's like, after anyone does a show, you get off of that high of being on stage, this perfect body, your hormones are this and that, you know, you haven't eaten this way in X amount. Then you start eating the food, the senses, everything is on other levels, and you hit that bottom.
Yes.
And I remember it affecting some of my relationships too, you know? Because
then you don't find yourself, you know, super attractive anymore. You go from having this hot body, you know, six-pack abs, whatever, cuts everywhere and stuff like that, and all of a sudden you're like a fluffy pudge ball.
Yeah,
you know,
and I felt like shit.
Exactly.
You know.
And if with your confidence, you know, you go from being super confident to now you don't even want to take your shirt off in public and stuff like that. Especially, you know, summertime, you know, go to the beaches and stuff like that, and you don't want to do any of those things.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so hard. You know, a lot of people don't understand that. You know, just because you want to do a show and you spend all that time competing doesn't mean after the show is over you put everything that is in sight in your mouth in terms of like pizza, burgers, everything. Like I see some people go crazy.
You want to though,
exactly,
and most people do.
Yes,
and it's awesome.
Everything
tastes great.
It tastes amazing, exactly.
You know what I mean? And then you get into, you know, people drink, and then there's like excess amount of sex. It's just like everything that you've been depriving yourself of. You like indulge in, and then you just hit a lull. And so what do you think is the best way to step off stage and kind of balance yourself? Because all that stuff can affect who you're with.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from a scientific standpoint, you know, when you diet for a show, you spend 16 weeks and you do everything in moderation. You know, your calories, everything is counted. And when you think about it, after the show is over, you just basically go from doing that to basically just consuming everything in a whole.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be like that at all.
But do you think that you also need to take a little bit of a mental break from the gym?
Of course. I've had situations where I took a few weeks off, and even a few days off from the gym.
Did you do something else though, active, or you just took 2
Man, I was
weeks
so
off?
tired, I was just sleeping.
You're just like done.
Yeah, I just sleeping, yeah.
But I think a post-show meal is,
Of course, yeah.
you know,
I mean, my
excess is too much.
yeah, my biggest thing for me after a competition is I want to drink a lot, like a lot of water, soda,
Yeah.
you name it. I just want,
Yeah.
I just want liquids. You
Yeah.
know, I've never been a fan about like the food, like the dessert pies and pizza and burgers. I've never been like that kind of person. I just want to drink stuff.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I just wanted steak, you know, and steak and like a ginger ale or what have you. But it was the weeks after that when I could be social again and hang out with people. Then the excess started,
Yeah.
and then the body was like, "F you."
I mean, in all reality, you know, you're never gonna have that quote unquote perfect body or that stage body after you compete.
Right.
You know,
You're never gonna have that same one again.
like you can't get. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say you can't, because you are going to get depressed because you work so hard to get it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you said, you know, you achieve your goal, and you should basically use that time to set new goals.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just getting all depressed and stuff like that, use that chance to set new goals and make new gains and stuff like that in terms of knowing what your weak parts are and stuff like that, to working on that. That's why you have a successful off season.
But you still have to be on some type of moderated meal prep.
Of course.
So any
yes.
coach that doesn't take you
Yeah.
post show and handle that.
And I think
know,
as coaches,
they
you
need
know, as coaches and whoever your coach is, they should like basically tell you, like, just because the show is over doesn't mean that you could just go eat everything in sight.
That's right.
You know,
Control yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Control yourself.
And so for people who are with competitors who are competing, whether you're a competitor or non-competitor, like just be mindful that like you'll have the temptation to be like, yes, let's go, let's party, let's like eat everything, but be supportive of that person. Remind them that like they need to ease back.
Yeah, because you don't want to get in that depressing state when you like literally four days and you gain like freaking 60, 70 pounds.
But it's also a gut health thing.
Exactly.
You went from like eating
Yeah.
super clean,
Exactly.
and then you're gonna put a bunch of junk in it
Junk.
with hormones and additives in it. Like, I think
And
that has a lot to do with your emotions.
I think
and
that's where the
hormones.
whole depression stuff comes in, you know, with
Yeah.
all the hormones and stuff like that from the food and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
It really does make you depressed.
And it's really real. I've seen people get into really vicious fights after post show or like break up and like, you know, because they can't see that there's like the reality and then like what's not happening and what's happening.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you know what I mean? That like it's just post show, everything's gonna be okay.
It's very funny because sometimes, you know, if you did your show and you did what you set out to do in terms of winning and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you'll have a different view or a different feeling when it comes to that post competition, because you know you achieve your goal, you're still on that high, you know, you're so excited about it.
won, yeah.
Exactly. But for somebody that, you know, put their all into it and they didn't get the results that they wanted, then that usually, when they eat a lot and stuff like that, that usually has a very negative
Yeah,
effect on them.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. And I think for women, they get really stuck on how they appeared, either on their photo shoots, around or before, or right after their competition. And they need to remember that like that's your body right then, but it's always going to evolve and it's not going to look like that ever again. And I think that's something that like women especially struggle with, and that sometimes they can't get past that, and it
Yeah.
becomes like a huge blocker for them.
Because they think they should look like that 24/7. Yeah.
and it's just not possible.
Yeah, it's not possible. It's
Yeah.
definitely not.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't want to walk around that kind of body fat year round anyway. It's not healthy.
So these are all really great takeaways, I think, for people who are competing and people who are with competitors. Like post stage and competition, that phase in the regimen is very real, and it's something that like you need to be mindful of, so that you know that like, you know, whether you win or lose, like those are feelings and emotions. So you gotta let them go. You gotta still feed yourself well. You can't go crazy, and then pick your new goals.
Yeah, because like you said, at the end of the day, your health comes first, and you just don't want to go from an extreme diet to basically crash in a diet with a whole bunch of junk food and health. You know, you could get high cholesterol, you know, whatever. Give your damn self a heart attack because you're eating so much junk, and
Yeah.
you never know,
Yeah, you don't.
Exactly. So you just
Because
want
you're putting your body through such
much
extremes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you got a lot from this, about post-competition and post-stage. And good luck to everyone that's competing this season. And make sure to join us on Generation Iron. You can follow me on Instagram at Margarita Ventura Fit and Akim.
On IFBB Pro, Akim Williams on Instagram and on Facebook. And make sure you guys, if you have any questions, always welcome to inbox me and ask me whatever you want to ask. I'll definitely respond to everyone.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.